Today.
I
love
is.
it. We're going to tell you about a couple of great events, as we mentioned right before the break. It is Lung Month, and it is also Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month. We're going to tell you how these two charities are getting together. We are joined by Teri Kingston, Pulmonary Hypertension Ambassador. Welcome to the show, Teri.
Thank you.
We also have Melanie, who's from the Lung Association. She is a staff member. Melanie's been on the show many times in the past. Melanie, welcome. Great to have you here as well. Let's talk about, first of all, the importance of Lung Month and raising awareness. What do we mean when we're raising awareness? What for? What sort of lung diseases are we talking about?
Well, I think, we're not, if you're living with a lung condition, you're not having as bad a day as this guy back
That's
here,
right.
you know?
Not quite,
not
but
quite,
it can be pretty bad.
I know, like, when I was diagnosed with asthma, I'd spent about 4 weeks coughing. So I'd laugh, I'd cough. I'd go to sleep, I'd cough. I'd talk, I'd cough. And I just didn't know what was happening.
Right.
And sure enough, after, visiting a doctor and having the proper diagnosis, now I have medication that can take care of that. So I can get through things such as talking with you today without any trouble.
And see, that's interesting because I think for some people, asthma is something that you're born with. Right? But for you were diagnosed
later, yes. And it sort of has no age restriction to it. A child could be born living with a lung condition, and they could be much later in life as well. And I think, at the Lung Association, we're looking at such a variety of lung conditions, asthma, COPD, but also we want to make sure that we're shining the light on conditions that are much rare. So, for example, Teri's going to be able to tell you a little bit about pulmonary hypertension.
Which is not something that we hear a lot about. We hear asthma, right? We hear COPD. So what is pulmonary hypertension, Teri?
It's a long name for a really complicated heart and lung disease. So what happens is that the arteries in the right side, in the pulmonary arteries, can't get oxygen through to the left side of the heart to keep circulating through the body because the arteries are clogged. Cells build up in there, and it creates this hard-working right side of the heart that has to pump harder and harder. Some people call it the reverse Grinch syndrome because the right side of the heart can get really much larger, and it's very difficult. So they have shortness of breath. This is where it gets complicated because it can sound like asthma, it can sound like COPD, even when a doctor's checking all the symptoms. But they'll get very blue lips or purple lips. That's why we have purple as our color. Shortness of breath. For my husband, who was diagnosed with 3 years ago, his legs would stop working after he would walk for a while, and then his heart would start pounding, and he had no idea what it was. He was just feeling sicker all the time, to the point where we thought he had cancer. We just didn't know what it was.
And so from that point, so now you know you're not well and you're going to the hospital. Is this still a difficult thing to detect, or do the doctors pick up on it right away?
No, we're lucky here in Ottawa. I think there's probably more awareness here with the Heart Institute being so fantastic. But there's a pulmonary hypertension clinic right in Ottawa. But it was his family doctor, and God bless her, because she picked up on it much more quickly than some people. He was very lucky. And that once they started to see what was happening, she said, no, you're going here. And within a month, we were in the pulmonary hypertension clinic. We had no idea what it meant, no idea what it was all about.
So what is his diagnosis now moving forward?
Well, he has pulmonary arterial hypertension, which is probably the worst part. There's many subsets of the disease. They have an excellent drug protocol that he's on. We keep changing the drugs. After a while, the body seems to adapt to whatever drug therapy they're on. When you originally hear about it, they say 3 to 5 years without treatment. So now we're just saying he's doing well. He's holding his own. He's a very stubborn man, thank heavens. And he's determined that, the disease won't define him. He's just doing what we can. And the community support that we have through the Pulmonary Hypertension Association is, we call it phenomenal. Everything's PH. Right?
I like it.
We're a
so
family.
Melanie, I mentioned during the intro that you're partnering up. Why the decision to team up?
So wonderful. We have been celebrating Lung Month during November, a cold month. And speaking of colds, anyone living with a lung condition, a simple cold, that might just be, a few days for you, might be an extra few days for someone with a lung condition. So we want to celebrate during Lung Month. And we were organizing a Dine for the Cause with Mike at Biagio's. And at the same time, Pulmonary Hypertension with Teri was doing the same. So we spent 1 year doing them separate, and the next year we said, let's do this together. Let's come together for this event. And, really putting the fun, PH maybe, back, in fundraising. It's really important. This dinner event, I like to say 1 silent auction, 2 great causes, and a 3-course dinner.
Beautiful.
So it's a really good event.
There's a couple of things going on. So Dine for a Cause is one of them.
Sure.
So can we talk about that one just a little bit?
Yep. That's it exactly. This is when we started last year, well, this is our third year for the pulmonary hypertension. We had called it a hint of purple, because again, we're trying to emphasize that. And the whole menu was based around purple. But this year, with the collaboration with Melanie and Lung Association usually using red as their color, we asked the chef to be more creative. So we have purple cabbage soup, a beet red salad.
Nice.
I have a couple of different things in the main course, and then the desserts are raspberry red for Melanie, and then blueberry coulis, or panna cotta with blueberries to make it the purple again. So the kitchen's been very creative. Biagio's is so supportive of this, and
They
we
are
just
so
love
supportive
it.
of so many charities.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many charities come in the show, and they're doing an event at Biagio. You
That's
also have a lip sync battle
That's
at
exciting.
the House of Targ, which, if you haven't been, is one of the coolest spots in the city.
We do. I'm very proud of the event management program at Algonquin. The graduates coming out of there are really, focused on helping charities. And in particular, 2 grads are putting on this event in support of the Lung Association. And last year's winner, I'm sure, is going to be back to try to get that trophy again this year. So it's coming up, just a fun night, even just to watch the show if you don't want to be in the show.
And it's $5 at the door to get in. You don't even
Nice
have to
and easy.
pre-register. Just show up at the House of Targ, and that is
That's
happening
November 5th.
November 5th,
And
exactly.
then the Dine for a Cause is November 18th.
November 18th,
Which-
$50 a ticket, but $10 of each ticket Mike sends to either the PHA Canada or the Lung Association, or this year we're saying both.
Choose one or the other.
Okay.
You can choose
Beautiful.
both. I just forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
okay.
Oh, yes. Why Wednesday, the 18th of November is important. It's also World COPD Day. So it's an extra day to celebrate that day as well.
Absolutely.
For those who struggle all the time or just sometimes just to breathe.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
both
you.
for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank
As
you.
we said,
Looking
2
forward
great
to it.
causes, 2 great events you can get involved with. We are back in the kitchen again.
More
We're getting
food.
spoiled today.
Yeah.
Celebrity chef Renee Rodriguez and owner